Oh, here we go again.
What if I told you at the 2026 World Cup, you might see a team qualify even after losing twice?
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, no joke. FIFA has changed the rules so much that football might not even feel like football anymore. Players now have 5 seconds to restart play, they get punished for being injured, and VAR? It's about to show up even more than that one friend who never leaves your house. FIFA says this will improve the game, but once you understand these changes, you might start thinking, did they just break football instead? In this video, we're breaking down the new 2026 World Cup rules that are completely changing football. And by the end, you'll understand why fans are starting to worry about the future of football. Starting with the 5-second rule. Welcome to panic mode. Imagine you're a defender. You just cleared the ball, you're catching your breath, and suddenly, 5 seconds. That's it. Throw in, go, no time to think, no time to plan, just vibes. This new rule forces players to restart play almost instantly. And while that sounds exciting, it also means one thing. Mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Because football isn't just speed, it's decision making. Now defenders are going to look like they're speed running live, midfielders won't even get time to point where they want the ball. At this point, it's not build-up play, it's survival. Substitution rule. The death of game management. You know that moment when a team is winning, and the player being subbed off suddenly forgets how to walk? Yeah, FIFA saw that and said, enough! Now players have 10 seconds to leave the pitch. If they don't, the substitute has to wait a full minute before entering. Basically, no more slow exits, no more clapping every fan individually tactics. Sounds fair? Right, but here's the problem. Game management is part of football. Killing the tempo, controlling the pace, frustrating the opponent, that's strategy. Now, that entire layer of the game is gone. Football just lost one of its most annoying but genius tactics. Fake injuries are gone, but at what cost? We have all seen it. A player goes down, holds his leg, looks like he's about to retire, then suddenly he's fine. FIFA finally said, we're done with this. Now if a player stops the game due to injury, he must stay off the pitch for at least 1 minute. Which means no more fake injuries. But here's the catch, what about real injuries? Now even genuinely hurt players are forced to sit out, and in a high-intensity match, 1 minute can change everything. So yeah, acting is gone, but so is flexibility. VAR expansion. More accuracy, more frustration. VAR is back, and this time, it's stronger. Now it can review second yellow cards, wrong decisions like corners, identity mistakes. Basically, VAR is now everywhere, which sounds great until you remember every review means more stoppages. More waiting, more confusion, more players standing around wondering, what's happening? Football is supposed to flow, now it might feel like pause, rewind, analyze, and resume. At this point, even Netflix buffers less than a VAR check. The 48-team expansion. More teams, less quality. The biggest change of them all, the jump from 32 to 48 teams. On paper it sounds amazing, more countries, more fans, more global football unity. But in reality, it might turn the World Cup into football's version of everyone gets a participation trophy. Because here's the truth, when you increase the number of teams, you don't magically increase quality, you just stretch it. And that means more mismatches, more one-sided games, and yes, more matches that feel like preseason friendlies, just with way more pressure and way less vibes. In the old format, qualifying for the World Cup was brutal. Big teams missed out, every game felt elite. Now, finishing third in your group might still be enough to sneak in. Congratulations, you lost, but here's your knockout ticket. And don't get me wrong, this is huge for smaller nations. It gives them a stage, exposure, and a chance to grow. But for fans expecting high-intensity clashes from day one, this might feel like a slow burn. Because when everyone gets in, the question is, does it still feel special? Or does the World Cup start feeling just a little diluted? The new group stage format, confusing and risky. Now here's where things start getting weird. The 2026 World Cup will have 12 groups of 4 teams, and instead of just the top 2 qualifying, the best 8 third-place teams also go through. Sounds exciting, right? More chances, more drama, but here's the problem. This system rewards inconsistency, because now you can literally lose a game, maybe even play average football and still qualify. So instead of teams going all out to win, some might just aim to not lose too badly. Yeah, survival football is officially a strategy. And let's be honest, this format is confusing. Fans will need calculators, goal difference charts, and probably a PhD to understand who's qualified. Damn. You win, you qualify used to be simple. Now it's more like, you lose, but in a nice way, and maybe you're still in. Football logic, slightly broken. More matches equal more fatigue, and injuries waiting. Now let's talk about something players are definitely not excited about. More matches. The World Cup is jumping from 64 games to a massive 104 games. Yeah, that's not a small upgrade, that's almost a whole extra tournament squeezed into the same calendar. And here's the problem, players are already exhausted. They're playing non-stop for their clubs, then international fixtures, then tournaments. At this point, their schedule looks less like a calendar and more like a survival test. Now add more World Cup matches on top of that. What do you get? Fatigue, injuries, and players performed at 70% instead of 100%. Because football at the highest level isn't just about skill, it's about intensity. And tired players don't press, don't sprint, don't recover the same way. The quality drops, even if the number of games increases. And let's be real, fans don't want to see their favorite stars limping through matches. At this point, players might need a hospital membership more than a gym membership. More football sounds great until the players can't physically keep up. Travel nightmare. US, Canada, Mexico chaos. Now imagine that you play a high-intensity match in Los Angeles and a few days later, you're flying to Toronto. Welcome to the 2026 World Cup! This tournament isn't just football, it's a full-on travel simulator. Massive distances, multiple time zones, and long-haul flights will destroy recovery time. Players won't just be fighting opponents, they'll be fighting jet lag. And in a competition where small margins decide everything, fatigue could travel literally decide who wins or loses. At this point, teams aren't preparing for matches, they're preparing for flights, hotels, and sleep schedules. More teams equal more drama. Really? FIFA says more teams means more drama, more stories, more magic. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the reality, drama doesn't come from quantity, it comes from quality. Think about the past World Cups, every match felt intense. Every mistake mattered. Why? Because only the best were there, no easy games, no second chances. Now, with more teams, we'll get more matches, but not necessarily better ones. Some games might feel predictable before they even start, so the real question is, are we getting more drama, or just more football that looks dramatic but doesn't hit the same? The money factor. Why FIFA really did this. Let's be honest, this isn't just about football, it's about money. A lot of money. Because when FIFA expanded the World Cup to 48 teams, they didn't just add more countries, they added 40 extra matches. And every single one of those matches means broadcasting deals, sponsorships, ticket sales, and global ad revenue going through the roof. More games equals more viewers. More viewers equal more money. Simple math, even simpler business. And look, from a business perspective, it's genius. The World Cup is already the biggest sporting event on the planet, so why not make it even bigger, even longer, and even more profitable? But here's where fans start asking questions. Because when decisions are driven by revenue, the game itself can take a back seat. The focus shifts from how do we make the tournament better to how do we make the tournament bigger? And bigger doesn't always mean better. So while FIFA talks about growth, inclusivity, and global expansion, many fans say something else. A tournament that's slowly turning into a business machine where football is still there, just not the main priority anymore. FIFA's vision. Faster game or rushed chaos? FIFA says these rules will reduce time wasting, increase speed, improve entertainment. And yes, the game will be faster. But faster doesn't always mean better. Because football isn't just about speed, it's about rhythm, control, emotion. You remove that and you don't get better football. You get rushed football. Evolution or destruction? So here's the big question. Are these rules improving football or slowly turning it into something else? A faster game, a stricter game, a more controlled game, but maybe a less beautiful game. What do you think? Are these rule changes actually good for football, or is FIFA overdoing it? Let me know in the comments, and if you love football content like this, subscribe, because the game is changing and we are just getting started.